Hey guys, it's Matt and Grace from Jamie.Musical, the Instagram fan account for the hit West End musical Everybody's Talking About Jamie.
Today we're going to be interviewing Noah Thomas, who currently plays Jamie. Hi Noah, how are you?
Hi, I'm really good. How are you doing?
We're all
We're
good,
good.
thank you. Very excited, very excited.
So, should we get straight into it?
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah.
So, obviously, we know all about your audition process for Jamie, but what was it like going directly from drama school to a West End stage? That must have been crazy.
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't think at the time I thought about it too much because I think if I did, I probably wouldn't have done it. I think if I'd like let myself get too in my head and get myself worked up about it, I don't think I would have seen it through. But I was very lucky that I was in very capable hands, and what the team here do really well is they really look after us. And so the first thing I did before I even went into rehearsal or sat down with any of the team was I sort of had a day with Johnny, with the director Johnny, and we just sort of had a day. We went for lunch and we sat with the script. We tried on heels. We just sort of did all the like sort of like broke my sort of Jamie virginity in a way, kind of just sort of eased me into it rather than being like, here's a script, here's rehearsal. It was a really nice ease into the process rather than sort of a jump start. But overall, I was just really lucky. I ended up with a really, as you all know, a really wonderful group of actors and creative team to work with, which I was really, really lucky for. But yeah, it's overwhelming to think about now in retrospect. But at the time, I don't think I let myself get carried away with it because otherwise I wouldn't have done it.
Because it's not just straight to a West End role, it's straight to a West End role that's already got a lot of hype around it and a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, it's a mammoth, isn't it? It's a sort of a this titanium role, this sort of really precious thing that everyone knows really well. And I think the thing I wanted to achieve most, which I hope I'm doing, I don't know, I've never seen my do, is just bring something truthful and something just a real spectrum of a person rather than Jamie just being this one thing. Because I think when I read the script and then having discussions with the creative team and them having the same idea as me was that this teenager is not just one thing. He's so many complicated things. He goes from being fabulous to vulnerable to quite unlikable. There's a point in the show, as we all know, where he becomes a really unlikable person, and even though we are rooting for him to redeem himself, you have to commit to that. You can't just not acknowledge the fact that he says really horrible things and does really awful things to his mum and becomes kind of a shell of a human. So I wanted that to achieve that, which I hope I've done. I'll never know, but
Definitely.
well, I don't know. I can't watch my own performance, so that's which is a lovely thing because then I would again get overwhelmed and not do it.
Absolutely. Well, kind of going off of that, you said that, Jamie goes through all these sort of different emotions and things. What would you say are some kind of major differences or even similarities between you and Jamie?
Gosh, so many things. He's so brave. I'm not as brave as that at all whatsoever. Even the little things that he does, the things that I would have shied away from as a teenager, especially at 16. I think at 16 we're all so just open to so many people's interpretations of what we should be, and so to have this 16-year-old be so assured and know who he is and not be afraid to be camp and be funny and own his sexuality, I think that's a really brave thing. Whereas when I was a teenager, any of the things that made me stand out or made me different, I'd often sort of wrap it up with a bow in a box and put it somewhere else and just leave it, because you're insecure. We're all wildly insecure. But I think that's our main difference, is that he's a lot braver than I am. We both have, I love my mum to death. We both have a really lovely relationship with our mums. We're surrounded by a community of really sort of irreverent and different characters, which is true for me. And that was the thing I noticed when I first saw the show, was that the classroom of kids looked like the kids I went to school with. So there were black kids, there were girls in hijabs, there was every kind of kid was there. And so I think that's why I gravitate towards it as well, because he not only surrounds himself with those people, but he looks after them and they have banter, and that's what I really enjoyed. but yeah, the main difference was just the bravery. I'm not as brave as him, like anywhere near. Ridiculous.
How do you think it's important to have a figure in the company that sort of unites you all? I think Roy Bianca was probably that sort of figure at one point. Yeah, who would you say plays that sort of role for you now?
Oh, oh, that's interesting. I think it is important. I think it is, and I think the great thing about the company, and I think it's reflected in the show as well, in the characters, is that they all really look after each other. So even in those first few scenes with Jamie and Ray and Margaret, you know, like they all know the situation with Jamie's dad. They all understand what's going on, but none of them are going to say anything. Do you know what I mean? Because they know it's too, you know, it's too raw for everyone. So we're going to avoid it, and we all look after each other, and we all lift each other up. And you know, I think in the company we all really do that as well. If there's one person, I think David O'Reilly is one. David, who's one of our drag queens, he just is hysterically funny.
It
He's
seems
so,
really popular.
and he just, and I think as well what he does really really well is that if we're all having a bit of a moment and everyone's having a bit of a day, he's the one person that won't necessarily ignore it and like and try to lighten the mood in that way, but he'll play on it and he'll make it a funny thing. You know, if we've all say if we all fluffed a line or we all messed up choreography, he'll be the one to sort of be like, oh well, I know you do that, you being you, and you know, he's that kind of banter. So at the minute him, but you know, we're lucky to have so many people like that. Mel is great. Mel looks after everyone. Shane is just hysterical. You know, he's a funny one. Shane, he's really really lush. But yeah, I'd say David at the minute, just because he's made me laugh. He just every time we come off from stage, he's just making me laugh.
That's so important to have that dynamic as well, because it just means everything's going to run so much more smoothly. If you know, if there's any tension, then it would just be awkward coming into work each day.
Yeah, we all really like each other on and off stage. You know, we're not. It's not. None of our relationships are artificial, and that's everyone. That's stage management. That's sound. That's lighting. That's automation. That's every department. We all just get along, because it just makes for a better workplace, especially during the times that we're in now, when everything is so isolating and so difficult. To have that foundation is lovely. Yeah.
Absolutely. So obviously, as we know, the theatre has been away for nearly 14 months. It's been a hard one. It's been long. Why would you say it is now more than ever so important for fans to come and support theatre?
Oh gosh, that's a loaded question. That's the big question. I think it's really important because I think live theatre more than anything else is the most unique experience you can have in terms of in terms of art, because we do the show 8 times a week, and none of those performances are identical. None of those performances are carbon copies. Every single one is different. You know, with theatre, it's sort of the most unedited, kind of fresh version of the thing you'll ever see. So I think it's really important that people have that experience because you don't get that anywhere else, and
And that's why we love coming back so much, because you choose what you focus on. There's the different thing happening every night.
Exactly. And you can clock into, the more you see it, the more you clock into different relationships. You notice Jamie's relationship with the girls, you notice Jamie's relationship more with Ray or with Hugh. You clock onto different things, and I think that's what's really great about going and seeing lots of different kinds of theatre as well, is because everyone has a different storytelling voice, a different theatre making voice.
And that's why cast changes can be nice as well. Obviously sad, but also exciting.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a really exciting thing, and I think Shane is here for now, and then we're getting a new Hugo in a bit when he leaves in July, and that again is a really important relationship for Jamie, and I can't wait to discover that with a different actor and to think about what their history will be, and I'm that nerd that always is like, well, what happens after the story's finished? What is their relationship next? And yeah, so it's exciting to have that with a new actor and a new voice. So yeah, I always look forward to working with new people.
So we really want to know, how's it been sort of coming back to the show, going back to suddenly doing 8 shows a week again, stamina wise? Has that been really hard?
Yeah. Yes.
What do you think? No, it's you just have to look after yourself. You just have to be you have to, I sort of treat myself as not, I don't want to say I'm an athlete, but I sort of have an athlete mindset when it comes to it. So I try and get the good 8 hours. I try and drink all the water in the world. I try and eat really well. I try and look after my body. Try and do things during the day that don't require a lot of talking. I always think if I was maybe doing a play or maybe doing a film or something, I don't know how different it would be, but because I'm singing, that is a completely different realm. And I think as well, like I was saying about different kinds of storytelling voices, this is a very specific kind of music, and you can't, as you will know from seeing the show, you can't half-ass it. You can't like half sing it. You have to commit to it, because this music is so, it's, Dan has written the most beautiful music, and it's so focused on rhythm and syncopation and tuning, and tuning is the one I find the most difficult. So if you're a bit out of tune or you're a bit out of rhythm, the show just feels a little bit like this. And so trying to maintain that is really difficult. But it's at the end of the day, you signed up for it. Every day when I'm like, oh, I'm exhausted, everyone will go, well, you chose to do it. You know what I mean? You don't have to sign the contract. And I was like, well, that's very true. So yeah, just have to really look after yourself. But the first week was a shock to the system. And sorry to babble on, but doing This Morning the next day.
Slippery this morning.
Oh God. It was honestly, that's the thing. When we look back at it, we're like, the slipperiness wasn't even the worst bit. It was the fact that we did the show the night before, and then we all got up at 5:30 the next day to go to ITV. We were all like this.
Oh God.
No, but it was all right. We all filled up on coffee and did our thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like you said, you kind of like to have an athlete mindset, but it is like that. Not many people have a job where you have to put on a full 2-hour performance every single day, or nearly every single day.
Yeah, so you do have to really look after yourself and be really sensible, and not go out to the bar and all the things you want to do when you're, young and in your 20s. You have to go home and sleep. And
Sure, I'm sure. Now, on
I,
a slightly less serious note, are there any kind of memorable mishaps, line muff ups, anything like that?
she won't mind me saying this. So Ebony, wonderful, wonderful dance captain Ebony, was on for Fatima, and there's a scene outside in the corridor where she says, "Pretty, have you got your prom ticket?" And she forgot what she was saying, and she just called her fairy, and she went fairy, and her and he were just looking at each other like this, and she went, "Have you got your prom ticket yet?" And I'm in the toilet creasing. I'm pissing myself laughing. And because it was the fairy silence, radio silence, yeah, that was one of my favorites recently. I don't know mine is. I try not to. I asked the girls what mask they were wearing to prom instead of what dress they were wearing. That's fun.
I'm
I
free.
went. She went, "Wow, Fonzilla," and I went, "What mask? Dress." You never know. Yeah, but big mishaps. Luckily, knock on wood, I've not had any
There
yet.
must be some good moments with Shane. He likes to switch it up sometimes.
Shane's hilarious because I think Shane is always so present. He often is maybe too present, and his lines just leave him. So sometimes he'll say a line and he'll forget what he's saying, and he'll forget his train of thought, and then just look at you blankly. And I'm thinking, I can't help, I have no idea what is next. I'm waiting for my cue line to then do this and do my business, and he's there like this looking at you, ask what is it, and you just think, I don't know, Shane. And it's so funny, but he'll make it a thing. He'll be like, yeah, Jamie, a drag queen, a drag queen, and they're supposed to be, they're, and you think, Shane, we got to be out the building at 10. Come on, Shane, hurry up.
It's
But yeah,
brilliant. It keeps those scenes alive, and it's like I just get so excited for the Victor's Secret thing because the
Yeah.
dynamic works so well.
so funny, isn't he? He just is hilarious. And the thing is, he'd come off and he'd be like, "Oh God, that was a bit shaky. That one, wasn't it? It was like we're like back in the Queen Vic." And I'm like, "Shane, you're too much. Too much."
if you could play any character in the show other than Jamie, male or female, who would it be?
Becca, easy, Becca. Do you know why? And I'll tell you for why. Because she's got a good amount of. Maybe I just want to rest, but she's got a good amount of dialogue, a good amount of scene work. She's probably the. I don't think she was like me at school, but she's like the friends that I had at school. She's like the girls that I gravitated towards at school.
I thought you might say Margaret or Pretty.
Oh, Margaret would be a good one. But the thing is with Margaret is that I think Margaret and Jamie are very, not very, but they have very similar ways of coping with things. They come from they are of a very similar environment. So I think I'd want to play someone a bit like polar opposite.
We have to mention the 1000th show and that moment where you guys all sang together with your predecessors. How did you feel about that? How was that a special moment for you?
Yeah, it was. It was really nice. It was really nice because it had been a while since. Obviously, Max has never been in the show, but it'd been a while since the other boys had been in the building and had sort of been around, because it's a lot of the same team that they worked with when they were here. So it's nice for them to all sort of come back and be welcomed by that energy. And I can remember we were doing the final number and they were all in the wings. So all of the sort of creatives and Leighton and John and Max and Margaret, and they were all in the wings and you could just hear them just buzzing and chatting away. And it was that was a lovely thing to have. But yeah, that was a really fun night. It just sort of was very celebratory, and 1,000 shows for a new piece of work that's British and came from years and years of workshops and came from just an idea that Johnny had. When you think about it, essentially it's just an idea that Johnny had watching a documentary one day, and for it to be what it is now, and for it to be a feature film and to be all over the world and to be running in the West End for 1,000 performances and more now is just it's great when you think about it, because it just started out as a little idea, and now it's this kind of exciting, I don't know, I was going to say empire, but that just was too posh for Jamie. It's not an empire, it's just this exciting buzzing thing that's everyone kind of that more and more people are getting to know, which is lovely. But yeah, that 1,000th was just great, and we had a cracking night out after.
And actually, going off of that as well, the 1000th performance, it was amazing as fans. Like, we were both there. There were so many people that we knew and the fans that were there. And it was so surreal to see all of these Jamies, the movie and the previous Jamies, all on one stage, all singing. Personally, one of my favourite moments in the show. It
was just lovely to have the people that have played this role and left a little bit of themselves with this role, to have them reunite and sort of have that sort of understanding that like we've all been through it, and it's because
that's always what John said about a long run. It changes forms as it goes on. So for it to like look back retrospectively and everyone come together, it was just nice. It was a nice way.
Yeah, well, it has to change because we're different people. If I played the role exactly the same as Leighton did it just before me, or as Max is doing it in the film, it wouldn't work, and it would never be that. And that's never what's lovely about this team, is that that's never the expectation. The expectation is never to come in and to be Leighton or John or Max. It's just you find it within yourself and you use your own, that's the key to all acting really, is that a little bit of, as much as we are playing characters and we're sort of empathizing with them and taking on their thoughts and their ideas and their wants, essentially it comes from you. It comes from your own being. I can't be anyone else other than myself. I can think like someone else. I do it 8 times a week, but I can't transform into another thing. I have to be. I have my body and my being. So that's the lovely thing about this part, is you're never pressured into being another person's idea of what this character is. You're your own.
Yeah. Absolutely, definitely. So we want to get to know kind of your plans for the future, as much as we would love to have you in this role forever. So you
I'm
said
too tired. I'm too tired.
You said not too long ago that you'd like to go into plays. Is that something that you'd want to pursue, or another musical, or oh,
Yeah, musicals are not for me. One, singing terrifies me. It'd have to be something I really am passionate about and believe in. But I'm terrified of singing, and and I know that we're supposed to do things that scare us. I know we're supposed to jump out of our comfort zones, but not in that sense. I would love to, I'm a very open book. I like a lot of different kinds of films and television and plays, and I would love to explore that realm. But yeah, there's lots of incredible work happening right now, and lots of incredible new voices in every kind of art form coming up, and to be involved in any of their projects would be lovely. But you never know. This industry's a bit mad, and you never know where it can take you. So we shall see. But this has been the best kind of kickoff to a career I think I could have ever asked. I think I could have ever asked. But it's kind of just ticking a lot of boxes.
Obviously we'll be there to support you in whatever you go on to do
absolutely.
next.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, who knows? We shall see. I have nothing. I'm here till August, and I know that is that much to be true. But right now, there's nothing set in concrete for me, which is nice.
Before we wrap up, we've got to mention the amazing fan base that this show's got. So many people around the world, a lot of which have been able to see you, but some haven't because of COVID. What's your perspective been of the fan base? Because you've not had the same connection that other Jamies might have because of COVID. Do you still feel welcomed in?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's pros and cons to it. I think the pros are the fact that I've been very lucky in that I've been quite unaffected by people's opinions. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes when you are greeted by people at stage door or in the street or whatever, and they tell you, it's like not too many people are like this, but some people can get quite feedbacky, and they can sort of give you feedback on your performance. And then if they tell you it's really good, or no one would ever do this, but if they tell you it's really bad, whatever, that will stick with you, and those moments will never be the same again. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of good or bad perspectives. I try not to interact with it too much, because it will just affect my mind personally. But we know, all of us in this building, we know you're there, and we love you for it, and we love that you keep coming back. And we're very very grateful to have a loyal group of supporters who love the show as much as we do.
We're not too annoying then.
No, oh my God, not with me. I just am very, I'm a massive overthinker, and so I know for a fact I know my own limits. Do you know what I mean? Like if I see someone at stage door, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to say hi and stuff. But if people start banging on too much about like, I loved when you did this bit, I'm a bit, because it will just never be the same. It will never be the same as it was, because I'll be thinking, oh, well, they really liked this song, so I better sing it like that again. It will never be truthful again. So yeah, I tried to block out some of the noise, but no, we love it. We love people coming and supporting it, and that you lot have a community of people as well who love it, and that's what honestly keeps a show going is people. That's why we've got Les Mis next door, and that's why they've been going for God knows how many years, because people love it and they keep coming back, and they talk about it with other people. So we're very very grateful.
Absolutely. So kind of to wrap it all up for today, if you could take home one prop, it can be yours, it could be another cast member, it could be a bit of costume, anything.
Ooh. I've never thought about that. Does it have to be mine? Can it be someone else?
Anything at all. Anything that is on the stage at any point.
Oh no, I'm not going to say that. That's wrong. No, I'm not going to say that. I'd probably take the Buzz Lightyear teddy bear, because I love teddy bears.
Oh yeah.
I have the Buzz Lightyear teddy bear.
And it signifies a nice moment in the show as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think knowing the story of why it's Buzz Lightyear as well, which I'm not going to tell anyone, but us knowing the story of, and there's a story. Oh, everything has a meaning in this show. Everything is there for a reason. But knowing the story of why it's there, is lovely, and so I'd have it with me
Yeah.
because I know why it's there.
Thank you so much for doing this, Noah. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for chatting to me. It's lovely.
I'm sure you'll spot our faces in the audience soon.
Hopefully.
We've only got of this run, we've only got like 8 weeks left until August, and Shane leaves in July, so you know.
Crazy.
But fingers crossed for an extension, obviously.
Well, we don't. Well, you know, we don't know. We don't know. They don't tell us. They'll tell us the night before.
Yeah. I hope so. But thank you, Noah.
Thank you so much.